was no other place to start but the Munster Senior Hurling Championship Final, which took place today. As I mentioned, of course, we did the live watch along for this, but Limerick ultimately came out on top 121 to 2 goals and 17 points in Páirc Uí Chaoimh. Last year, Limerick had to watch Cork win the Munster title in the Gaelic grounds. This year, they got their sweet revenge, winning the Munster title in Páirc Uí Chaoimh. You can see how delighted John Kiely was, and the way that the Limerick fans poured onto the field. It was some sight to behold at the end as well. This is arguably the sweetest Munster title of the bunch for John Kiely, because it puts them back on top in the province. Matthew, what's your assessment to this?
Look at the fan reaction at the end. I was surprised the fans were left onto the pitch, considering I heard on Cork's Red FM after the Clare game that a fan attempted to come onto the pitch for that last round Munster game, but he got stuck in the netting, the blue netting, and he got pushed over by the stewards, apparently. But so for that reason, I was shocked that the fans were allowed on the pitch, but apparently they just found ways and they got on the pitch in the end. But the Limerick crowd descended onto us. You could see Darragh O'Donovan planted the flag onto the pitch as well in the park, and it was almost like Galatasaray-esque with Graham Souness, to put it mildly. But look, it was a brilliant win for Limerick, and you could see the amount of support for Limerick. And it was almost like the reaction from the Limerick team. It was almost like it was sweeter than any All-Ireland that they ever won. I know it's kind of daft to say that kind of thing, considering they've won multiple All-Ireland titles. In 2018, for example, they won their first All-Ireland since 1973. But today just felt like a euphoric moment for them, because they got over Cork and Páirc Uí Chaoimh, number one. Number two, obviously, to get sweet revenge on Cork after winning in the Gaelic rounds as well. And maybe to shut up a few doubters. A lot of people say this Limerick team is old, and this Limerick team have gone past their best, but today they were absolutely superb. I think it was 41 shots across the whole 70 minutes. Cork could lay a finger on them. 13 shots from play in the entire game, 3 shots from play in the second half as well. It just wasn't good enough from a Cork perspective, but you have to give credit to Limerick. The likes of Peter Casey really stood up. Dermot Burns from halfback was sensational. Will O'Donoghue again was brilliant. And this was a Limerick team that didn't start with Adam English either. Shocked enough that he didn't start the game, but like Shane O'Brien caused his own problems up at the forwards. Aidan O'Connor didn't have his best day on the freeze. We did mention that in the live stream. He missed a few, but to be fair, he showed serious resolve for getting that crucial point at the end of the game from play as well. And Garrod Hagerty got some crucial, obviously the goal in the first half, the point in the second half as well towards the end of it. And Nicky Quaid made some absolutely unbelievable saves. So you have to credit Limerick on their victory today. They were deserving of it. The puckouts were absolutely sensational. 70% retention rate of their puckouts was absolutely brilliant from them. And from the Cork puckouts as well, they won 51% of the Cork puckouts. And this was a Cork team that won 70% of their puckouts or over in the entire Munster campaign. So it was just brilliant for Limerick to have those numbers throughout it. And yeah, they were deserving winners. Brilliant victory for them. And yeah, they will enjoy this win. And they now have a 4-week break until they probably play Clare or Dublin in the All-Ireland semi-final.
Absolutely. So it'll be very, very interesting to see will the sides meet again, Liam, because you're talking about the rivalry between the two counties. They know each other inside out, but now they are kind of undisputed as the two top teams in the country.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I do expect them to potentially meet again in an All-Ireland final, despite what I hope will be our best efforts to knock Cork out in a couple of weeks' time. But especially when you look at Darragh O'Donovan planting that flag in the middle of Páirc Uí Chaoimh, I mean, there's probably no extra motivation now that Cork will need heading into that dressing room for the next number of weeks, to be honest with you. Like, that could come back and bite them in the arse, potentially. You never know. But at the same time, look, they won today and they'll be celebrating for the next couple of days, and justifiably so. I mean, it's not every day. Look, well, for Limerick, it seems like it's every day over the last 10 years, but it's not every day you win a Munster title. You know, you win something as big as that. And I kind of agree with Matthew. I think other than winning the All-Ireland for the first time in 45 years in 2018, this is probably their sweetest victory in a final of any kind in the last 10, 15 years, to be honest with you. You could even tell by the way the players celebrated, the way John Kiely was celebrating it. I wouldn't say it felt like a monkey off their shoulder, but like, you do look at it, they lost the Munster title last year. They haven't won the All-Ireland since 2023. They had the defeat against Dublin last year. Like, a lot of people would have been questioning, like, there was one period, wasn't there a period when Limerick had lost 5 or 6 championship games in a row up until they beat Clare? Mm-hmm. No, they were going on somewhat of a downward spiral to a degree, but they've just shown again They're not to be messed with. They're a team that's going absolutely nowhere. They're a team that are still developing some top class players. Okay, people might say their underage teams aren't winning a lot of titles or they're not winning a lot of games. But I think for Limerick at this stage, it's about bringing through 2 or 3 players every single year, adding it to this already well-oiled machine, and just continuing to try and be as dominant as they can, both in the Munster Championship and the All-Ireland. And I suppose when it came down to it in the end, they showed the hunger, they showed the desire, they showed the know-it-all about how to win this type of game. Your Peter Casey's, your Grode Hegarty's, your Nicky Quaid's really stood up like men at the end, and put in massive shifts, especially that point, the 2 points that Casey got, particularly the one from outside near the corner. I mean, that was just absolute peak Peter Casey, to be honest with you. And especially with the injuries he's had over the last number of years as well. I remember in particular the one he got against Tip 2 years ago. That was one of the worst injuries I've ever seen, to be honest with you, on any sporting pitch, never mind just GAA. So I'm delighted to see him back at his best, to be honest with you, because it's very easy to come back from an injury like that and not be at your best again, to be honest. But yeah, look, Limerick in the end, you probably would say maybe deserved it just about in the end. But I don't think this is the last we'll see of them. I hope for my, no offense, Matthew, I hope for my sake it is. but I don't think it will be realistically.
Absolutely. When you're talking about frightening injuries, I do think that Tom Parsons' injury still for me is the most horrifying injury I've ever seen in my life. That literally kept me up at night seeing that. I've never seen someone's leg fold like that. Matthew, you're getting a lot of praise. Patrick Killick saying Matthew's a good Cork man in defeat. There will be bigger matches between Cork and Limerick, and A2 also echoes that same fair play. Matthew, very gracious. Be very easy to blame James Owens. Now, I'm not going to tee you up to kind of put this victory down to James Owens, put Limerick's victory down to James Owens, what I'm trying to say. However, when we were watching the live stream, it did seem like he was very whistle happy a lot, and a lot of people online are saying that. I've seen already plenty of memes. I've seen, I don't know, was it GA Crack, I think, could be wrong, put a meme up of James Owens in the Limerick jersey. Buff Egan put up something that had James Owens with the Adair, the Ryder Cup tickets in his pocket and stuff like that. So a lot of people are talking about James Owens, and we have people in the chat asking here, can we talk about James Owens? A lot of people just asking, what was the free count? How many frees did he give to Cork? How many frees did he give to Limerick?
The frees he gave to Limerick was 18, and the frees he gave to Cork was 14. That was the numbers.
Okay. Not as far apart as I thought it would be, but there were a couple of frees that he gave to Limerick. I remember one especially of Darrell Donovan in the back corner, in where he was in the right corner back position, where that was never, ever, ever a free, and it was given out. But he did make poor decisions in both directions. What did you make, Liam, of the ending? Did you see Ben O'Connor's post interview with Colin Parkinson where he was talking about the final whistle?
Yeah, I did. Look, first of all, I think you could kind of see it from all of our reactions on the live stream earlier. We were kind of like, what's he doing? Do you know, like, I get that there is a strong wind. Like, I've been on the pitch in Páirc Uí Chaoimh. There's a wind there. There's absolutely no doubt about it. And you can feel it even when you're on there. But at the same time, you're sort of wondering, even if, let's just even say, for an example, if James Owens did say to them, you have time to take this, you have time to work your way through it until the ball goes up the other end of the field. For me, this is probably just me thinking instinctively, if I'm Páirc, I'm still going, screw this, I'm belting it down. You can't take any. Yeah. I do just think you can't take a risk with that, regardless of what. I think it's the same in football. If a referee says to you, you've time, I mean, I'm saying this as an Arsenal fan, if you've time to take a corner, you throw the ball in, you don't take it short. You know, you don't try and work it this weird way. You just bomb it in and just hope somebody gets their head on it. The same way today, I just think, realistically, he probably wasn't going to have the distance, realistically, but just hoof it in. You never know. The ball could break to Brian Hayes. The ball could break to Tim O'Mahony. The ball could break to Alan Connolly, just anybody, you know. And they could put the ball over the bar. They could get their hurl on it. It could come off a Limerick player. The ball's in the back of the net. You've won the Munster title. I don't know. I wasn't a fan of taking it short and then taking another pass short and then hoofing it in. And then, look, maybe he could have done with not blowing it then. But at the same time, look, I would have just hoofed the ball in and just, at that point, you just say, hope for the best. and see what happens, to be honest with you, because they're just every man, woman and child inside that 21-yard square at that point.
Yeah.
Look, I could see him kind of ironically saying to Wooly, like, oh, it was great that he told Will O'Donoghue or something like that, that's great for Will. So look, at the end of the day, for me, regardless if James Owens said to Collins or not, you have time to take this. For me, if I'm Collins or if I'm anyone else on that pitch, I'm just saying, hoof that ball in. You never know what could break from it. If Limerick catch it, if Limerick break with it, fair enough, we gave it a go. But for me, I think the Cork lads did get it wrong in that instance.
Yeah, I think it's another thing that we need to talk about when we're talking about referee decisions and everything like that is if, let's say, Patrick Collins had driven that ball in around the house and it ended up in the back of the net, there would have been outcries about time was up. He should have blown up earlier. He shouldn't have let Cork get to that instance. And so, personally, I wasn't that sympathetic towards Cork giving out that the time was up. And I don't think any of us really were on the live stream. But on top of that, I think also if the ball had gone into the back of the net, we would have been sitting here talking about should Limerick have got a penalty for the Shane O'Brien incident with Niall O'Leary when it was played side by side in the halftime analysis. It looked similar to what Brian Hayes got a penalty for with Kyle Hayes. So there is poor decisions. He made a poor decision in both directions. And Colin Parkinson put up a post where he's like, he's managed to piss both sets of supporters off. He's managed to annoy both teams. He gave bad decisions for both of them. So yeah, I do think, look, in the grand scheme of things, the bad decisions tended to relatively even themselves out. I don't agree that James Owens was reffing for Limerick or reffing for Cork. I don't agree. I think he gave bad decisions for both sides. And I think that tended to even it out between the two teams. Now, Matthew, moving on from here, how are Cork and Limerick going into the rest of the season? Because a lot of people are tipping them to meet in an All-Ireland final at the end of the summer.
We were saying that at the beginning of the All-Ireland quarterfinals last summer, and Limerick got shocked, obviously. They got caught in the hop. It's up to Cork to I suppose not make that same mistake as Limerick did last year with underestimating the opposition, and make no mistake about it, Offaly deserve to be in the All-Ireland quarterfinals. They've been absolutely sensational this season, and they have a few under-20s. Like I think I see the post actually, Offaly and Cork face each other in the under-20 All-Ireland final in 2023, and there would have been a lot of players in that Offaly team, a load of that team. For Cork, there would have been Dermot Healy, O'Downey, a few others as well in that Cork team as well. So that tells you, make no mistake about it, Offaly are going to put it up to Cork. They are. It's as simple as that. If Cork aren't on it for the very off, if we still have injury problems, if Darragh Fitzgibbon, for example, isn't recovered in time, 2 weeks' time, we will have problems to overcome. We obviously would have Kieran Joyce. That's done and God know he's going to be out for the rest of the season. But I think if Cork get over the first hurdle against Offaly, I think I'd be confident enough, despite Galway's good form, I will get on to Galway in a sec, I would be confident enough Cork will beat Galway, because I think we do have a bit of momentum behind us. We've got over that first hurdle or whatever. And you look at Limerick's side of the draw, like Limerick's side of the draw is very, very tough as well. Like Dublin or Clare, whoever comes out of that or the quarterfinal will definitely put it up to Limerick. And Limerick would have been 4 weeks without a game too. So that's going to bring its own challenges for them. So it's not a given that both sides will reach the All-Ireland final, but they are, I think, at this present moment in time, two of them are the best sides in the country. But anything could happen in the next few weeks. Just look at last year, for an example. Obviously, Dublin beating Limerick in the All-Ireland quarterfinal. Cork getting swept in the second half against Tipperary. Anything can happen in the hurling championship. If one side keeps an eye off the ball, anything can happen. And Cork and Limerick have to heed those warnings and take them into the All-Ireland series.
Absolutely so. And just before we wrap up on this game, Liam, we were talking as well at full time about who should have been man of the match. There's a lot of different options. We've got Dermot Burns, you got Nick Quaid, who were sensation for Limerick Road. Hegarty and Peter Casey going down the home stretch were absolutely sensational. From a Cork perspective, I thought Sean O'Donoghue was fantastic up until he had to be taken off because of his yellow card. I thought Tim O'Mahony was very good. I thought Dermot Healy was very, very good as well. Who do you think were the key players and key difference makers? What was the key difference in Limerick winning?
Well, I think first of all, considering how much he has struggled on him over the years, you're absolutely right. Sean O'Donoghue, who did a really good job on Aaron Gillane, I have to say. Like, Gillane didn't get a score today, I don't believe, or at least he massively struggled in the game, which we haven't become used to with Gillane over the years. I thought Rob Downey was doing really, really well. There was one point he was winning a puck out over Garrod Hegarty, which was said on commentary. That just never happens. You know, Garrod Hegarty never loses a high ball. So I think Downey did really, really well, to be honest with you. I thought Dermot Healy was excellent. I said it earlier as well. Alongside, I love watching Darragh Fitzgibbon, but I was raving about Dermot Healy last year, and I'm doing it again this year. I think he's a superb hurler, to be honest with you. He played in that under-20 All-Ireland final that Matthew referenced a few moments ago. I think he got the first goal for Cork that day as well, and I think he's just an absolutely terrific player. He's young, he's athletic, he's fast, he's got an eye for goal as well. He's a great strike off, especially off his right-hand side. I think if Cork are to win in All Ireland, I think he could be one of the players that'll be very influential for them. I thought Walter, wing forward, had a good game as well, just even doing a lot of work off the ball, to be honest with you. I think Tim O'Mahony looked good in the middle of the park as well. Took a few big hits, we have to say. There was a few big, massive train-like hits that he took in that game as well. In fairness to Collins, he pulled off one or two fantastic saves as well, which you have to give him credit for. I know people will mention the incident at the end, but in fairness to him, he pulled off some big moments himself. So I don't want what happened at the end to be the whole judgment of his game. There was other moments in the game that he came out really, really strong in. But yeah, from a Limerick point of view, like we said, look, Nicky Quaid got man of the match, and probably deservedly so. He pulled off some big saves. His puckouts were good, and he stood strong, particularly from his save that he pulled off in the first half, which was fantastic. But Garrod Hegarty stood up massively. Peter Casey, for me, just some of the scores he was getting, and it's good to see him back to his very best. Diarmaid Byrnes is in for an all-star at the moment. There's no doubt about it. Potentially could be in for a nominee for Hurler of the Year. He's been having a fantastic season to date. So, so I think Cian Lynch obviously did a lot better than what he did the last time out in Páirc Uí Chaoimh. There was no red card or anything like that this time, which was good from his perspective. In fairness to Brian Hayes, you got to mention, like, to score a goal like he did was just absolute freakish. I don't know how he did. With about 3 or 4 big Brock Lesnar like Limerick hurlers around you, and you're still managing to bat the ball into the back of the net on the ground, was just absolutely terrific. If I was to pick out the main man in the match, I think just considering the injuries that he's had, and when you have to come up with clutch moments, as good as Nicky Quaid was today, I just think Peter Casey, for the injuries that he's had over the years, the point, I mean, he got the winning score, but the point before that, just out towards the corner, he kind of sold the dummy. He came back inside off the right, and just, it's kind of like Conor McManus point for Monaghan against Tyrone in a football terms, like just absolute peak cinema. It was just absolutely terrific. But yeah, for me, Peter Casey was an inspiration today for Limerick. And but yeah, overall, I think those were the key difference makers in the game.
I think the 3 difference makers: Quaid, Burns, Casey, for me. Hegarty is definitely in there, deserves a shout. But yeah, great comment here from Mike. He said, beating Munster finalists have a terrible record getting to All-Ireland finals. Leinster teams actually have a better modern record that way. Kilkenny 2012, 2019, and Galway 2015. Tip 2019, Cork 2013, Clare 2024 as well. They got to the All-Ireland final and won it. But it's a very, very interesting topic, Mike, and it's certainly one that you would assume would be a little bit more tipped in Munster's favour because of the higher standard of competition and more all-Ireland winners, etc. However, I think is it a case that they flake hell out of each other in the Munster Championship, so that when they get out, they're a little bit more wounded in terms of players being missing, etc. Like Cork, to get out of the Munster Championship, Cork have been charged. Kieran Joyce, Rob Downey definitely isn't fully fit. Do you know what I mean? Darragh Fitzgibbon is gone. Like big players that they've been tariffed to get out of the Munster Championship, whereas Limerick, Gillane definitely is not 100% fit, and other key players that have picked up knocks here and there along the way. So Peter also has a question. He said, lads, power rank as it stands now. My current power ranking right now in the Hurling Championship after this weekend's games: Limerick top, Cork second, Galway third. That's my top 3. Any disagreements at all? No? We're all in agreement. There you go, Peter. We're all on the same page now as the year is going on.